Welcome back to the Embers archive. Tonight, we delve into a kingdom shrouded in perpetual twilight, ruled by a queen with a heart of shadow. It is a story of a stolen sun, a defiant light, and a love that dared to bring back the dawn. The kingdom of Umbra was a land of silver moons and eternal twilight. For centuries, it had lived under the shadow veil, a great spell cast by its first queen to shield her people from a sun plague that turned magic to dust. Now, Queen Elara ruled cold, pragmatic, and fiercely protective. She was known to the outside world as the Sun Thief, the tyrant who kept her kingdom in darkness. Maintaining the veil was her sacred, crushing duty. To the east, the Sunstone Empire withered. The magical imbalance caused by the veil was draining their lands, and their people suffered. They worshipped the sun, and its theft was a wound in their very soul. The crisis came when the veil began to fray. It did not let light in, but leaked darkness out, birthing monstrous shadow beasts that terrorized both kingdoms. Desperate, the Empire sent a final envoy, Lysander, a high priest of the Sunstone Order. He was not a warrior, but a scholar, a man whose own magic was a gentle, radiant light, and whose heart held an unshakable optimism. He believed the queen was not a monster, but a prisoner of her own legacy. Lysander's diplomatic mission ended the moment he crossed the border. He was captured by Elara's shadow guard and brought before her in the Onyx Citadel. She sat on a throne of polished shadow, a crown of silver thorns on her black hair, her eyes as cold and gray as a winter sky. She saw not an envoy, but a weapon. The Empire sends a firefly to reason with the night. Your light is an insult here, priests. Tell me why I shouldn't extinguish it. Lysander met her gaze without fear, his expression one of profound sadness, not aggression, because, Your Majesty, the night is bleeding. The veil is failing. I did not come to destroy it, but to help you mend it. My light can be a thread to reweave the shadows. Elara laughed, a sound like shattering ice. You are correct. Your light will be the thread, but you will be the sacrifice. I will use your magic to patch the veil, and it will consume you. You will serve my kingdom one way or another. Lysander was imprisoned in a high tower, his light magic suppressed by the citadel's shadowy wards. He became Elara's prisoner, a tool she studied and prepared for her ritual. But in their forced encounters, an unexpected battle began not of magic, but of wills. He refused to see her as a tyrant. He spoke to her of the sun, of the warmth on one's skin, of the simple joy of a blooming flower things her people had not known for generations. She dismissed it as foolish sentimentality. One day, she found him tending to a single, pale moon petal that grew in a crack in his balcony, coaxing it to open with a faint glimmer of his suppressed light. You waste your energy on a weed? He smiled, not looking at her. Nothing that strives for the light is a waste, Your Majesty. Even in a land of shadows, life finds a way. Your kingdom is not dead. It is only sleeping. His words were a crack in her armor. She began to see her own kingdom through his eyes, the quiet beauty of the silver forests, the resilience of her people. In turn, he began to understand the crushing weight of her crown, the terrible choice her ancestor had made, and the fear that drove her. The true turning point came when a shadow beast, a creature of claws and living darkness, breached the citadel itself. It cornered a child in the courtyard. Elara's guards were powerless. Before she could act, Lysander shattered the wards on his room with a desperate pulse of light. He threw himself in front of the child, creating a shield of brilliant gold. The beast recoiled, hissing at the pure light. Elara arrived a moment later. Seeing Lysander protecting one of her own, a profound shift occurred within her. He was not her enemy. Priest, hold it! She raised her hands, and tendrils of pure shadow erupted from the ground, not to attack, but to bind. They wrapped around the beast, solidifying into chains. Lysander's light held it at bay while her shadows imprisoned it. For a moment, their magics worked in perfect, terrifying harmony. They destroyed the creature together, and in the aftermath, stood breathless in the courtyard. They now knew the veil could not be patched. It had to be undone. But to let the sun in was to risk the ancient plague. It was a choice, Elara, and all the queens before her had been too terrified to make. The first queen's magic was born of fear. It was a shield. But a shield can become a cage. Your magic, Elara, can be different. It can be a key. Trust me. As a horde of shadow beasts assaulted the citadel walls, they raced to the apex of the spire, the heart of the ancient spell. Below them, their world was on the brink of being consumed by the very darkness meant to protect it. Elara stood at the focal point of the veil, the air humming with a power that had been held for centuries. She had to choose to cling to the fear of her ancestors or to embrace the hope of the man beside her. If this fails, we will all burn. He took her hand, his warmth spreading through her. No. We will be reborn. She took a deep breath and began to unweave the spell. It was an act of immense control, carefully pulling apart threads of shadow magic that had been woven for 1,000 years. As the first, terrifying crack of pure sunlight broke through, Lysander raised his hands. He did not let the light scorch the land. He gathered it, softened it, and released it as a gentle, cleansing wave of golden energy. Where the light touched, the land did not burn. The pale grass gained a tinge of green. The shadow beasts dissolved into harmless mist. The sun did not bring a plague. It brought life. They stood on the tower, hand in hand, as the sun rose over Umbra for the first time in centuries. The city of eternal twilight was bathed in the warm, golden light of dawn. The two kingdoms, once enemies, forged a new alliance built on balance. The queen who had stolen the sun was now celebrated as the queen who brought back the dawn. Days later, Lysander stood with her in the citadel's gardens, where 1,000 new flowers were beginning to bloom. Her voice, now free of its icy edge, was soft. I thought the darkness was my duty, my strength. Lysander smiled, his eyes full of warmth. And I thought the light was the only answer. We were both wrong. The world needs both the dawn and the dusk. It needs balance. He leaned in and kissed her. A promise of a new era. A love born in the shadows had found its strength in the light. And in the heart of the archive, their story was recorded. A reminder that even the longest night must eventually give way to the sun. Thank you for joining us at the Embers archive. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more tales from the Embers. Until next time.